Well, my name's Jennifer Green, and I studied chemistry at Oxford, and then I did a DPhil there, and I landed up with a job, and so I did research in chemistry. And when I was a graduate student, I married Malcolm Green, who had been a student with Geoff. So that's how I got to know Geoff. It's quite funny, when Malcolm first introduced me, and we were just engaged at the time, Geoff said to me, no, to Malcolm I think, marriage almost ruined my career, he said. So he was a very abrupt guy, but we actually got on very well, and I got to know him well over the years. And my research was not like Geoff's or Malcolm's, who mainly did synthetic chemistry. I measured things, and at some stage Geoff made some really, or his students made some really spectacular compounds, which were tungsten and rhenium surrounded just by alkyl groups, methyl groups. And the technique that I used was something called photoelectron spectroscopy, where you took a gas and shone quite energetic monochromatic light, and it measured the energy of the electrons coming off. And these molecules were volatile enough, so Geoff asked me to measure them. And I think that's probably my only publication for Geoff. But we used to meet fairly often because his daughter lived in Oxford, and when he and Lisa, his wife, came to visit, we'd often go out for a meal with them and their daughter. So that's more or less why I think I'm being interviewed. Well, as I said, he spoke his mind. He was very engaged with things. He used to write lots of letters to Margaret Thatcher to tell her what to do. Because by that time he'd had his Nobel Prize, and so he had a certain status in the country and the community. He was Professor Sir Geoffrey Wilkinson, so he, you know, on the whole, his opinions were sound and defensible, but sometimes they were, you know, not what people wanted to hear. He was a very, very keen family man. I mean, his daughters were, you know, much enjoyed by him and Lisa, and his wife was a splendid person and managed to sort of live with him, which can't have always been that easy. He, you know, he was, I think, very competitive professionally. You probably heard stories about the early days when he and Fisher, who he got the Nobel Prize with, were competing in this very new area. And I heard this from Malcolm, that he used to talk about Fisher as that snake-eyed plagiarist from Munich. So you can see this sort of way didn't always endear him to everybody. But, you know, I like the guy. I mean, he was, you know, they say he was what you saw on the tin, and that was good. Also, his colleagues for a long time in the department at Imperial, Dennis Evans and Les Pratt and Billy Griffiths, were all very good friends of Malcolm's, and we used to see them quite a lot. So in that way we learnt about Geoff second-hand, what was up in the department. Got to know other members of his group, like ones you're seeing today. And it was, the whole thing is a big family, as you can see. I mean, Ernesto reason why we're here, spent for a year in Oxford with Malcolm, who's on sabbatical leave. And I think that's probably partly because of this, Wilkinson group connection that led him to want to come and spend a year in Oxford, yeah.